continue. So I last talked about my little Buddhist bracelet, and I'm going to more calmly tell you this now because I can. And I don't know, I think there's a couple knots on here. It's like braided, and it's supposed to be for like good luck and all these really interesting, maybe protection. I don't know. But anyway, I was blessed by a monk, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. And it's not like it's any, I don't know, huge thing, because anyone can go in there and just be like, shake that water on me, mumble your Buddhist stuff. So, but it was beautiful, I think. I really enjoyed it. And I really just enjoyed being at the temple. It was very peaceful. And if you walked around the back of like the whole compound, you saw the entire city of Chiang Mai. That's how high you were up. And it was wonderful. And we got really lucky because while we were in our little caravan type thing, driving directly after we saw the tigers, it started to rain. And by rain, it was pouring. And we thought, you know what? Because we got there and it was just like buckets dripping everywhere. And we're just like, you know what? I'm just going to go up. Like, whatever. Water's water. We're hot. It's going to feel good. And we were drenched walking up the stairs. And a group of French tourists were there. And he saw us. And he looked at my friend, Charlie. And all of us, we were just like dripping with rain. And he goes, "Oh, mademoiselle." Because they all had like ponchos and little like umbrellas. And we were, wet rats. But as soon as we got to the top of the mountain, the sun had come out, and it just was so brilliantly shining off of these temples, which were pure gold, that it was beautiful, and I liked that. So that was the temple day. Then we did our entire day trek, which was really fun. That was the last day we were in Chiang Mai. We did a day trek. In the morning, we got picked up around, I think it was like 8:15. Picked up a few more people. We had a group, I think, of 7. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe 7. We went to an orchid farm, which, I'm meant to be in Asia. Like, or maybe just in Thailand, but Asia in general, because the entire place is filled with beautiful, beautiful orchids. Like, just in the airport, like, meadows of them, and just hanging from the ceiling. Like, it's like no big deal. There's orchids everywhere. And so I ran around, and they actually had the orchid jewelry that it is the flower, and it's preserved in this lacquer. And so you have and it's very light, but it's so beautiful. Then after that, we went to visit the Hill Tribe people, and Hannah was really excited because she did a report, I don't know if it was in high school or whatever, on the long neck women tribe, the ones with all the rings and stuff, and we were going to see them. And we didn't realize that we were going to see so many, different tribes. There's the Karen tribe that wore hats, tribe that only wore the rings on their arms and their legs. The long neck women had them on their necks, and they were freaking heavy, 40 pounds or something like that, and then on their legs, and they had bracelets on their arms and stuff, and they were beautiful. They were absolutely stunning and just so poised, and it looked like you were looking at a piece of just artwork, culture, and they were really nice, and they were selling handmade scarves and table runners and a bunch of other souvenirs that they clearly did not make, but I think it's to go towards the village. They were also kind. There were babies running in dirt everywhere. They were cute. And it was really funny. There's, on one of the huts that they made, there were posters of Korean pop bands. And I was like, yes! Westernization. But, yeah. And we get back in the caravan because after we went to the Hill Tribe people, we were going to go ride elephants. And we're sitting there, and our tour guide, who was just hysterical, telling us everything about everything, and talking to you when you didn't want to be talked to, but he was all about it anyway, comes over and brings a plant, and we're looking at it, and Hannah goes, "Is that marijuana?" And he goes, "Shh." That also grows rampant in Thailand. And he just brought the leaf, and we're looking at it, we're just this is okay, that's funny. Bars are themed like Bob Marley. It's very common there, and I'm not entirely sure if it's illegal or not, but I don't know. And we went to see the elephants, and they were so cute. Our elephant was pregnant. She was giant, and her name was Madonna. So there's a little like platform that you can sit on, and while the dude that, I don't know, what's it called, the elephant rider, I guess the elephant tamer, sits on the neck, and there's like enough room for 2 people to sit on the seat, and he's like, okay, so you two, you're a group of 3, so 2 of you sit up there, who wants to sit on the neck? And I was like, I want to sit on the neck. So I bareback rode an elephant. It was great, but she kept sneezing on me. It was kind of gross. It's full of elephant snot, and her ears kept flapping on my legs, and she was so cute. And she just she kept racing on the other elephants. We clearly had the coolest elephant. We also bought sugarcane and bananas to feed her, and like every 3 steps, she'd like put her trunk backwards and be like, yo, give me some snacks. And like, I never realized how weird an elephant trunk looked until I had one in my face every 5 minutes. Very alien looking. The only thing I didn't like about the elephant riding was that they weren't very kind to them. They, like, when they weren't moving fast enough, they like hit him in the head with chains. I feel like that's not very nice. It wasn't often, but it was too much for me to watch. Yeah, and after the elephants, we went hiking. Went hiking a little further away up to a waterfall, and we got to swim in the waterfall, and it was beautiful. I almost died like 15 times. That's an exaggeration, but the footing on some things wasn't very stable, and it was like very up and then very steep and tiny corridors and walking over rivers and stuff. But that was beautiful. The waterfall was stunning. I didn't take any pictures because I didn't want to bring my camera for it to get ruined. But and then after the waterfall, this was a long day. We went whitewater rafting, but because it's the hot season in Thailand, which is from March until June, we were there in the middle of the hot season, which is also low season, so things are cheaper. The water was really low, so it made whitewater rafting really interesting. And the river was full of all of the natives just like sitting on the side, and we were literally a show for them. They would sit there and watch us be ridiculous and get stuck on rocks, and then if they were in the water, they'd come over and just like splash us. And we got into like splashing fights with like all these Thai people and like little children and groups of teenage boys and old men and women just like splashing us. And it was really funny. And we got to a part in the river where it was really calm and smooth, and we bamboo rafted, which means I sat on a giant bamboo raft and watched Charlie push us with a giant bamboo pole. Yeah, that was a long day. We were tired after that. I think we still went out and walked around a little bit, but that was the last day in Chiang Mai. And so we decided to go to Koh Phanong, because that was the plan, to go and be on the island for the full moon festival. That was the worst 28 plus hours of traveling in my life. I will never complain about a flight less than 14 hours. I'm not even going to complain about my flight home, because we went to I can't remember what the traveling events were. I think it was like, we got on, where were we? Chiang Mai. Oh, Chiang Mai to Bangkok. We had that flight, and that train ride, and that was like 12 hours down during the daytime. And then when we got to Bangkok, we need to take another train from Bangkok to Surathani. And Surathani train ride was like 9 hours. And we thought it was going to be sleeper, but it wasn't. And it was freezing. And they didn't give us blankets, and there was a mosquito on the freaking train. Oh, I need to tell you about, no, I told you about the mosquitoes and my ugly feet. But yeah, so I was getting bitten, and I'm still scratching them currently right now. And it was just awful. And we get there in Surathani, and then from Surathani, we had a bus ride, like 2.5 hour bus ride to the ferry, and the ferry took 2.5 hours. Maybe the bus ride was an hour and a half. We waited for a little bit. 2 hours to Koh Phangan. And once we got to Koh Phangan, we had to get in a taxi and drive like 30, 40 minutes up to our hostel, which was, it was exhausting. By the end, we were just like, I just want to shower. I need something to eat. We hadn't eaten anything except for like chips and instant noodles, and there was no food, just snacks and carbo loading, hence China round face. See this? It's gross. But yeah, so we were starving. We're driving up and it's beautiful and we're excited. We're like, we're finally there. And then this ambulance passes us, like going woo, woo, woo. And then like stops in a little town and we're driving in this traffic slow. We're like, what's going on? And literally not an hour in freaking Koh Phangan, and I look at the ground and there's a dude covered in a sheet. Like, I didn't know if he passed out or if he was dead. And everyone was like outside the shops. Everyone was like congregating around in a circle and just like staring at something. Obviously went down. And then I'm looking at the sheet and I noticed that there's like this thing, and it could have been his hand, but I realized later that the dude had been stabbed. I'm not in freaking Koh Phangan for like an hour and I see a dead person. Dead person. I was shell shocked. Hannah looks at me like, I can't handle that right now. And Charlie just got all like weird, and and I hate to say it, but I mean, it's awful that this dude was murdered, but he was a native. I would have been more freaked out if that was a white person. Like, if that was a tourist, I would have been like, get me off this island now. I am going home. But yeah, so that was fun. And we get to our hostel and we're just like, you know what? I'm so emotionally overloaded. I need a shower and I need food and I just want to relax. I want to go down to the beach and just see how beautiful it is. And the woman is so adorable that runs our hostel. They had only gotten a 2-person room. I'm not sure why when they booked it. So we lied and was like, oh yeah, she's staying down at another hostel. But then eventually the woman's like, if you want to stay here, I can get you another room and I won't charge you any more for it. And you can all be together. And we're like, you're so cute, because I was just going to sleep in that hut anyway. And she was the best cook ever. Really wonderful food. Really friendly. Like the woman from 50 First Dates. Just always smiling. Always like, hello, how are you? What's going on? We're like, hello, we just want to hug you. We get shown to our little bungalow, which has air conditioning. Nice. And then we enjoy our first night on the beach. We just walk around and it's beautiful. It's just like a little line of restaurants and some casual bars, and this is like the north side of the island, which is not where the festival was. So it was more relaxed and less like party crazy all night long. It was more couples and some families and people with lots of money, because there were some pricey resorts there. And so that was our first day. And our second day, we just lay on the beach. And literally, for like 3 hours, there was nobody except for us. And then a couple people trickled out, and just the ocean was bathwater. The only thing, I mean, I'm not going to complain, because I was on a beach, freaking island in Thailand. But it was very shallow. And you had to go out pretty far. And it was like a reef, because you can go snorkeling and stuff. So it was very rocky in the places where the powdered sugar sand was not. Yeah, so I would have liked it if the ocean was a little bit deeper, but like I said, I'm not complaining. It was gorgeous. That day we went down to the market and we bought like full moon clothes and body paint, because you just get painted up, and we found some like souvenirs for people. Just kind of like walked around the market, and that night we went back down to the beach and hung out. We had met a guy earlier in the day, because we were like, you know what, I'm on the fucking beach. I want a pina colada. I'm going to see how much this stuff is. And we get into one of the bars, and he was cool. His name was Bao. He was clearly blazed out of his mind. But, I mean, like I said, don't oversleep on Thai internet, so to each his own. And we asked to see a cocktail menu, and they're 180 baht. No, sorry. Even though that's like super cheap, let's see what 180 baht is in American dollars. 180 divided by 30. $6. $6 cocktail. Said some I should not be complaining. When I'm drinking 20 baht smoothies, and like my meal is like 70 baht, I'm not going to be paying 180 baht. Maybe 100. So I was like, this is really expensive, bro. Like, no. And he goes, well, we have happy hour. And he's like, it starts at 6. Or was it 8? No, it starts at 6. And we're like, well, yeah, we're going to be back down for happy hour. And he's like, yeah, we're also going to have like fire dancing shows. I'm like, great. I would love to see fire dancing. So after we were in the market, we decided to go down to the beach and go to our happy hour. And it's 8:15 or 8:45. Like, it was on one of those. And we come up and we're like, okay, we're here for happy hour. He's like, happy hour ended like 15 minutes ago. And we're like, but it's just 15 minutes. Can we just have one? Can we have one drink? That's a happy hour price, please, please. You know, bat our eyelashes and stuff. And he was like, okay, for you, you can have happy hour. 1.5 hours. And we're like, we wanted one drink, but if you're going to give it to us for 1.5 hours, like, I ain't complaining. And we met some really cool dudes and from England there, and we hung out with them and played card games and ran down the beach. And then the next day was full moon day. Woo! But during full moon day, we realized that we can't get back home. We were like planning on, every day we're like, hey, yeah, we'll get our ferry ticket back. I don't know, we'll figure it out in a minute. And that day we decided, book our ticket, and there is no room on any ferry. Ever. Anywhere. Like, we literally cannot get home. And we start freaking out. We're just like, this isn't a joke. This isn't, how are we gonna, like, we have a flight at 7:15 in Bangkok. We need to get there. We need to be there. And we were thinking of all these options, like, if we just bought a plane ticket, if we could change our time, if we could, like, bribe people, if we could cry. And for 9 hours, we were bugging out. Like, we did everything in our, like, power to find a way to get back to Bangkok. And eventually we went back down to the market because we had to talk to, we put ourselves on a wait list for the ferry, and we had to talk to them and be like, hey, yo, these are our faces. We want to be there if people don't show up the next morning. And then we're just, like, moping because we're on a wait list and we don't know if we're going to get home or not. And we go to this little, like, food court area that had lots of 20 baht smoothies and got some food. And then we see, like, a travel agency thing, and it says, like, honest, fair prices, we don't rip you off. And we're like, cool, let's just go talk to him. And we ended up talking to him, and he got us the way home. And we were so happy. I, like, cried. I was so stressed out. I literally cried. So that made the whole night better. We went down to the Full Moon Festival that night, feeling awesome, feeling relaxed. A lot better than it would have been if we didn't know if we were getting home or not. And we met some guys who were just like, hey, wait, are you staying here? Do you think you could, like, paint our backs or something? We're like, yeah, why not? So we got our paint out, and we started painting people up, and we got painted, and I did my face. If you look on Facebook, I had this whole, like, dotty, beautiful thing. And we went down to the festival, and we're just walking down, and they just sell you buckets of alcohol, and there's, like, a fifth of something, like a soda can, and maybe a Red Bull, and it's like 200 baht for a bucket. And my favorite bucket stand was cheap fucking buckets. So I was like, cheap fucking buckets, and they were like, yeah. But we never bought buckets because we were smart and planned ahead. But because everything was overpriced there, pad thai on the street could be, I think, 30 baht, and there it was like 70 baht for like a tiny little thing of pad thai. It's dumb. But Full Moon was absolutely nuts. We met some other people when we went to get some food from this little British place. It was called Outback Bar, but it was run by a dude from London, and they had stuff like Branston pickle and jacket potatoes, and I was like, oh my gosh! And we had a moment, me and the owner. We met some people at the bar, and we started painting them up, and I did, like, this guy's whole sleeve, and his name was Charles, and it was funny because our friend's name is Charlie, so the Charleses were having an argument at one point, and I was like, oh, look at them, they're funny. But we wandered off by ourselves. We went to down the beach, and the whole beach is filled with bars, and every bar has like a different stage with different music playing, and there are a million people in just neon colors, and everyone loves everyone, and we're all dancing and running in the ocean and being crazy, and there were mats on the ground for you to pass out if you needed to. People passed out in random places because they didn't make it to the mats. It was really fun. It was a really cool time. And then we ran into the British dudes we met the night before. And then we ran into the guys that we painted their backs. And then we ran into the kid whose arm I painted. And then we ran into people from school. Like, it should not have happened that we ran into all of these people, because there's like upwards of 15,000 people at this festival. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, tons of people. And to run into all the people we met is just, it blows my mind. But the only person we didn't run into, we're really sad about, is our friend Brandon, because he said he was coming down, and he wasn't sure at first, and then he did, and then we just didn't see him, and that was upsetting. But yeah, so we watched the sunrise. Beautiful. Absolutely spectacular. We go back to the ferry because we have, when did it leave? Oh, something early. Like, we had to be there at 10:30. We got there at 7. I'm making numbers up. We got there early, so we slept on benches, got on the ferry. The ferry took us to a little truck, which took us to a travel agency, which took us to a really nice bus, 2 monks in first class. In the middle of the night, they were like, we're supposed to get to Bangkok around like 3 o'clock in the morning. This guy comes and goes, Bangkok, Bangkok, and he like wakes us up, and we didn't know. We were the only people getting off the bus. Then we get into this taxi, and we're driving somewhere, and we're just like, we said airport, I don't see signs for the airport. Kind of getting sketched out because we didn't know if this like, the dude said, honest won't rip you off. Like, you're going to be sketched out about that a little bit. But everything turned out to be fine. We got to the airport super early, got on our flight, had a lovely flight that arrived early, got into Shanghai. My heart swelled with joy because I miss Shanghai so much. I'm wearing my Thailand pants, which are just, if you don't know what Thailand pants are, look them up. Very, very comfortable. And I'm tan, and I'm still covered in like body paint. And we get on the metro to go back to Shanghai, and not Shanghai, we're in Shanghai, back to our college dorm, but the Washada. And Hannah and Charlie both get seats on the metro, and there's not enough room, so I'm like, I'm just going to sit in the corner on the floor, because we had 10 stops to wait. I'm like, sitting on the ground, hugging my backpack, and these Chinese girls point and laugh at me, and I'm like, cool. Because in Thailand, like, they see tourists all the time, they kind of look at you like, okay, but it's an indifferent type of, okay, another tourist kind of look. And it wasn't a lot of staring like in China, so I got 10 minutes back in my favorite place in the world, and I get pointed and laughed at, which was just, it was just really funny. And we literally got out of the taxi that we had drive all the way up to our dorm, not to our dorm, to our class building, walked into class with our backpacks on, and just went to class immediately, because we were supposed to get extra credit that day for the speaker, and the speaker ended up being from, like, State College, so I chatted him up. Awesome. The rest of the day, we just got home and died, and it was, it was a great trip. I loved it. I really do like Thailand. It's awesome. And now I have 3 weeks left here. I am freaking out. I love it so much. My friends are sitting there planning, like, okay, what do we want to do this weekend, this weekend, this weekend? Because we want to get all the things we haven't been able to do in, and, like, I have 3 projects in my class, well, 2 projects in 2 of my classes that I have not even started yet, that I've been supposed to do all semester in groups, because we've just been all over the place, and I have an exam tomorrow, and I am sick, I am feeling very ill right now. All I want to do is sleep. I realize I'm not going to see people again, and it's bugging me out a little bit. I don't like it. I remember when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to study abroad. I freaking knew I wanted to study abroad when I was like in 1st grade, and we took a pretend trip to freaking Mexico. And then when I got into my freshman year of college, I knew I was going to China. Like, you can ask my mom. I was like, Mom, when I go to China, and she'd go, Tasha, if you go to China. I was like, no, when I go to China, this is what's going to happen. So I had that mindset, this very powerful mindset that I was going to come here. And I'm here. I have the exact same feeling as I did when I was a freshman in college and knew I was going to come here, that I'm going to be working here. Like, I cannot see Shanghai, this being the last time I'm here, whether it's for vacation or for work, preferably for both, but I have to do it. I have to do it. This culture is just everything about it. I can't stay away. So thinking like that makes it a little bit easier for me to leave, but I really can't believe that it's gone so fast. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So the next few weeks I'm going to be cramming in as much as possible. I'm singing in the talent show, some Chinese song that I don't know yet. So I'll be telling you about, we also have a river cruise coming up that's like the River by the Bund. But yeah, so that's Thailand and a little bit of my thoughts on my last few weeks here, which is really sad. Yeah, that's that. I will make a few more videos later, but for now, I'm going to go take a nap, and then I'm going to study for my exam. So, love all of you, and I will speak to you all later. Bye!